Do you know how far back with the fisheye lens that I have to stand to get this sucker in the entire frame? Holy moly. Hey folks, welcome back to Rusty Auto Adventures. Well, as you can tell from that intro, we got the lights working. Yay! So now we can drive this thing at night. Yeah, got headlights, turn signals, brake lights, tail lights, and even more tail lights. I know that's an old joke, but I don't care. It's funny. Got the important lights on the inside of the car work. Got interior lights. We have gauge cluster lights. We have oil pressure. Water temp, the important stuff to seeing what's going on around here at night. So as we kind of pan around the cars, you guys take a gander at this is our final result for taking the car to the show. I'm really proud of it. A lot of work all summer. A lot of work from Johnny and Mark and myself. Lots of fun. I believe all three of us learned a whole lot. So, as he continues to pan around the car, you can see this outside of, we are going to wash the car one more time, and that will be included in this video. You'll see an outro very similar to the intro, kind of giving an overall, the fancy beauty shots and whatnot. But yeah, this is it. I think it's perfect for duct tape drags. I believe we met our goal. If we went over $5,000 as far as the budget, it wasn't by much. So yeah, this is it. This is it. Okay, let's move on. Hey, look, we got her out on the road. Actually, we've had her on the road for a while doing testing. I think we've probably ran somewhere between 250 and 300 miles so far. And, knock on wood, she's been running pretty good. Pretty good. Just a couple of minor oil leaks here and there that were just simply tightened up a screw here and a bolt there. Not a big deal. But yeah, she's on the road. She feels pretty good. So as a conclusion, we'll wrap this up. This is going to be the final video on this series for this car. Now, we're not done with the car. Don't get me wrong on that. But as far as getting the car prepped for this show, yeah, we're done. So yeah, the duct tape drags. That's coming up here on the 17th and 18th. So I really hope, if you guys have been watching these videos, I'd love for you to come up to me and say hi. I'm just a regular dude. Mark's a regular dude. Cameraman Johnny's just a regular dude. Just having some fun. Don't really care about the views. Come say hi. These are no sponsored videos. They're going to remain that way. I think they're more real that way. But anyway, enough of that crap. Yeah, so if you're there, come say hi. All right, while we're waiting on more parts to show up, we'll do some small stuff to get that over with. So those were the old rear shocks, and went back to some just simple shocks, no extra coilovers. And it's kind of funny, when I pulled this one off, the car kind of sank down probably an inch Kind of crazy. All right, let's take a look at the front shocks. All right. What do we got? What the heck was that? Damn it, Mark! All right, got the front shocks out. It's kind of amazing how small. You know, if we compare it to a standard 12-ounce, whatever this is. Yeah, but anyway, it's, you know, pretty tiny. And that controls the front end of this thing? Wow. Okay. Front shocks are done. Let's move on to the next thing. So this is a little bit weird. Check this out. So now I'm working on trying to get the brake lights to illuminate. So this is the plunger. So in would be lights off, out would be lights on, you know, and most cars you just step on the brake, whether the, you know, keys on, whatever, it doesn't matter. I should have brake lights right now. Watch this. Turn the key to accessories. The plunger's out, so you know, brake lights on. Brake lights. What in the stinking heck is that? I can't show you, you know, it flickering because my arms are not quite long enough to reach to show you. Well, actually, maybe you can see the illumination on the wall. Let me zoom in, just in general. Okay, so now I will grab the plunger. Watch. Boop, 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 boop. But if I turn the key off, grab the plunger, there's nothing there. There's no lights. So the key has to be in either accessory or the run position in order for the brake lights to work. Well, I might not have very bright dash lights. Only one brake light. Only one running light. But daggum, do I got some backlit gauges. Okay, first things first on these string alignments. So I've not done one before, but you know, I understand the concept, and of course I looked up YouTube videos to see how to do it. So I'm not really going to give instructions because there's other videos out there that explain it in really, really good detail. So I'm just going to show you a little bit of tips as I go along. And one of them was from one of those other videos was go to your favorite, you know, dollar store, or nowadays your favorite $1.25 store, and get these really cheap, just super thin cutting boards. Put a layer of either grease or oil between them, lay them up underneath the tire, and that'll work as a bearing surface or a bearing plate. Got my fishing line right there, running down the side of the car. It caught a Pontiac. It's as big as a whale, and it's about to set sail. Holy crap, that was a bad joke. Okay, after much fussing around, I've got the stringed. You can see it there. It looks kind of like a spider web. Fishing line, super thin, and it runs all the way to the back. And it's hanging by D's nuts. All right, anyway, so 2 parallel lines. I just got done taking the preliminary measurements from the center of the hub to the string, you know, and center of the hub to the string. So yeah, now that that's kind of in the ballpark, we'll get out the rulers, switch over to metric, and dial those suckers in to a T. We'll remove the beauty ring so we can take measurements from the actual rim itself. We will set camber first. Caster's not really adjustable in these things. I mean, I've loosened up a lot of stuff in here just to see, and I can't get anything to move, you know, forward or aft. So we'll set camber, and then we'll set total toe. And yes, the steering wheel is already locked into place where I want it. So that should not be fighting us, and just kind of, you know, eyeballing it after replacing all the joints in the front end. It's not too bad, but I can definitely tell that we've got a camber positive. So the top of the tire is actually poked out ever so slightly. But yeah, we'll find out what that is. And yeah, and I did pick up some shims, because that's how you do the adjustment. You loosen up here, you loosen up here, you separate this, you add shims inside of here, and by adding shims, that pulls the top of the tire in, and that's how you do your camber adjustments. All right, let's get her done. All right, folks, thought I'd bring you in for another update. As you can see, we got this half of the car done. Yeah, I mean, we'll wash the car one more time, but just regular soap and water, just to get that Ajax, SOS, Comet, whatever you want to call that, off the car, because I'm not sure what it would do to the paint long term. But anyway, you can see it is a lot more teal than it used to be. If you compare it to the roof that I haven't touched yet, you know, you can still see a lot of scum up there and whatever. But interesting, really interesting to look at this paint job. Let me get a little closer. Or I guess I should say whatever's left of this paint job. Let me see if I can get a good angle so you guys can see it. Can you see how the car goes from like this teal color and then into this gray? Well, this gray used to be all the way down here, and it was mostly gray when we first got the car. So it's kind of interesting that the teal has faded to a gray. I mean, I'm guessing, I'm not really sure, but I'm guessing that's what it has done. It kind of reminds me of like the 67 through 72 series pickup trucks that were, you know, you see them all over the place and they're orange. They didn't used to be orange, they were red. They kind of faded to that Chevy orange color. And I'm wondering if that's the same thing going on here. We've got this kind of teal, and over time, a lot of years, it fades into this gray. But yeah, you can see it's coming off and going back to the teal, but it's also kind of stalled, I guess you can say. Whereas on the sides of the panel, they came off pretty good and went back to a really nice teal color. But on the top, getting towards the more horizontal surfaces, it's not coming off. So I think that's pretty much, I want to consider that permanent at this point, because I really don't want to scrub so hard on the car that we start going through the paint and to the primer and then to, you know, raw bare metal, because then that's kind of bad news. Because as you can see, this car, as far as rust goes, it's really not that bad. I mean, yeah, of course, we've got some surface stuff going on up here, and then kind of your typical places down low. You know, there's a spot there around the wheel wells, skirts for the quarter panels, you know, that kind of thing. But yeah, I don't think it's that far gone. So I really don't want to scrub this paint so hard to get through the bare metal and accelerate the aging process of this poor thing. But there we go. Let's keep going.
Oh yeah, smooth as a baby's butt. Well, something's wrong with that baby then. Ew. Anyway, we got the car. The car is washed now. It looks a whole lot better. So in the few hours it took to scrub this thing down, I came up with another theory as to what this gray is. So all the crap we found in the trunk was from the 90s, and kind of a thing back then was teal was not the cool color. So I think someone, probably a teenager back in the day, got a hold of this car and then spray bombed it with primer. That might explain. Yeah, that might explain why, it's gray and silver. Why would teal fade to gray? I mean, maybe it's a theory, but that one I'm kind of leaning towards the most is that somebody got a hold of it and they spray bombed it with probably some good old Walmart Krylon or something like that, and just spray bombed it gray. But anyway, we got the car. It's scrubbed down. It's looking pretty good. Let's look at the other side too. Yeah, the other side's going to be in the shade, but you can see it. It looks pretty nice. I'd call that presentable for a duct tape drag event, the car showiest car show ever. I'd call this perfect. So the only thing left we got now is we're going to go ahead and wash the windows inside and out, and also this rear window. Let's see if I can pick it up on camera. Yeah, there we go. You can see like there's a haze. It is just a series of scratches. If you were to picture like somebody taking sandpaper to a window and it just kind of hazed it out, that's what that back glass is like. And I have no idea what was resting on it, what happened to it. I don't know. It's one of the many mysteries of this car. The front glass is kind of similar, but not near as bad. Um, but it's good. It's good enough for what we're going to be doing with it. And maybe down the road, we'll see about replacing that glass if I can find one, right? I don't know how plentiful parts are for these cars, really. I mean, maintenance parts, spark plugs, um, carburetor parts, gaskets, sealers, pretty easy to find actually. But as far as body panels, glass, window trim, I don't know. I haven't looked yet. But it's kind of funny locally when I went to find the replacements for these headlights because only one of them worked. Nobody local has incandescent lights anymore, so I had to do the old jungle site to find those. But they worked. They were a reasonable price. They're definitely not $2-3 anymore like they were. It was talk about more like 15 to 18 a pop off the old jungle site, but that's okay.